excuse me, his first offense, using poetry as a lens, and his final cut is his newest poetry.
Would you like to read my poems? You do a better job of it than I do. Okay, I have written some media poems, and I'm going to read one of them right now. This is from a travel poster. You know, we like to think of different worlds that we go to, and mostly in terms of touristic kind of ways we think about those places. This poem tries to go beyond and beneath that kind of poster view that we have. Exhibit C. I could stride into the Paradise travel brochure, disembark at this picture-perfect port, get lost in that restored colonial mansion, climb up the winding path to a cottage on the ledge. I could be happy here, briefly, here or elsewhere. After a night in the company of restless shadows, swim in the clear waters, dry off in the sun, sip chai in the veranda, and watch daylight rinse the mountains blue. I could keep at bay the sound of bones crushed under the cobblestones, or blood bubbling out of the backyard well. Step back from the white paint smoothing over the smear of suicide. Tune out the screams lodged in the rafters. If ancient sweat sucked out of the soil into grapevines could be distilled out of this glass I raise, I could risk being content, briefly, then find this recurrent nightmare lodged in my head. The next one is called To Whom It May Concern, and it's a poem that is based on my kind of annual visits to India. And I have, friends who are millionaires, and they take me to 5-star hotels to eat. And somehow or the other, paying thousands of rupees for a meal, it gives me indigestion. So it's about that. To whom it may concern. I'm a man of the streets, a citizen of bazaars, loitering on railway platforms, idling at bus stops. Look for me at Panikam chai shops with auto rickshaw drivers, mazdoors and bank tellers. Look for me. I don't need to be ushered to my table by a hostess or sit stiff, hands tethered, while a waiter delicately places a delicacy on my plate. Can I dispense with the silverware and scoop the chana with the bhatura, and with fingers shovel the rice and curry into my mouth? The ambience would be nicer if these phony paintings were taken down and that fake folksy pottery and metalcraft were given back to the folk. I don't belong here, especially not for me, the club with cold leftovers of hunters' trophies staring glassy-eyed over my shoulder as starched uniforms fuss about the lunch table. Sign me off this colonial guest list. For the price of a 5-star meal, my mother's maid could survive a whole year and fund her children's education too. Forget dinner. Just hand me the cash. My appetite's gone, but I know where to find the ones who need to be fed. I've written poems, I've experimented with poems with Indian songs as the starting point. I grew up singing Hindi film songs, and I translate the first stanza from the poem, and then I allow the poem to take on its own life. So this one is Song of Surrender, and I'll sing the first stanza. लग जा गले के फिर ये हंसी रात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो, लग जा गले. And the translation, first stanza. Hold me close, for a night as pure as this may never return. Stay with me a while, for in this birth our paths may never cross again. So what if this tryst has no tomorrow? The dreaded guest is at the door. When his work is done, I will have drawn my last breath. Why try to reason what is beyond reason? You bestow upon me more than I am seeking. What little I give, I lavish upon your yearning. If this will fill our begging bowls, why should laws, oaths hold us back? Stretch your arm and take my hand. History has already written us. Not as scorching as Daruwala's poem.